Howdy y'all, welcome to Nerd Studio. We're out at the range today with the Beretta 92FS. Stay tuned. I know this is probably going to come as a bit of a surprise to you, but I've never actually had one of the Beretta 92 line of pistols out here at the studio. I've never actually shot one. I was in the Air Force in the early 80s, and we were still using the 1911. The Air Force was still using the 1911 then. Adoption, I think, occurred in 1985. The military adopted the 92F, and it was designated the M9. The Air Force usually is the last to get some of that equipment, so they probably didn't get it 87, 88. Maybe if one of you guys were in, you can comment in the video below. I didn't really carry a sidearm. I was more, M16 and 203 grenade launcher kind of guy. So, but anyway, I've never shot one, and I'm really excited to do it today. Now, this is no polymer wonder gun, folks. That's the first thing you're going to notice. The upper of this gun is steel, and the lower, I believe, is an aluminum alloy. She tips the scales at a hefty 33 ounces. Now, by comparison, the Glock 17 is a runway model at about 22 ounces. Magazine is double stack and holds a serviceable 15 rounds. I think this one might actually be a GI mag. The gun itself is hammer fired. It is double action, single action. So you've got single action, double action there. I think I just said that. The operating system is short recoil delayed locking block. And now, I'm not the guy you go to explain to you the ins and outs of what that means, but there's some good diagrams up there. Maybe I'll give you a link to one. And it's really interesting how the thing operates. I'm fascinated by the fact that the barrel is exposed on these guns, and it doesn't move. So it's not the tilting barrel design that you see on the your Glocks and all those typical guns that are real popular right now. The breakdown is really simple. It's not too bad at all. So you lock it back. There's a button here. You press the button on a lever, and then you can take the slide off. But one thing I really want to say, because I did it a couple of times, and actually as Alex and I were going through the manual of arms, he did it to me. The guide rod in this guy is not captive. And so when you pull it out, that thing can fly across the room and take your eye out. So be very careful when you disassemble this gun. This gun has a safety and a decocker, so we're right here, and it is ambidextrous. So you're looking at the left side. It's on both sides there. The magazine release is reversible for you lefties. You've got 3-dot sights right here and here. The front sight is integral to the slide, but the rear can be popped out and replaced. Let's take a few shots. one of the things that they called out when I went to go read up about the history of this pistol is that it has match accuracy. If you watch the channel, you know how good a shot I am. I'm getting better these days because I've been practicing for the NRA pistol instructors class here I'm taking in the middle of October, but I'm at 45 feet there. That's some dang fine shooting for me with a 9mm. The gun, I would not dispute the fact that it is match accurate. That's really nice. And it's, you know, the sights are not, maybe not the most combat effective sights, but they do provide a really nice sight picture if you're trying to shoot accurately. I could get used to front sight acquisition if I needed to shoot it for combat, but it is pretty decent for distance shooting. I was really impressed. I'm like, wow, look at that. I almost, I almost felt like I was shooting a smiley face. It was awesome. What are the couple of things I noticed while I was shooting it? I'm kind of wowed, and I think I read this as well, but on how wide open this is through here with the barrel uncovered, and the way this gun operates, I can't imagine what it would take to get a stovepipe in one of these. I suppose it's possible, but man, it's so open through there. Just kind of seems fantastic. The feed system, it's a little hard to see. I'll try and get some close-ups of this. The feed system is also, since the barrel doesn't tilt, it's much more straightforward, and I think the magazines really bear that out. They don't have near the tilt, and they're different than what you'd see out of like a Glock or an MP, kind of typical pistol I'd have here on the channel. Very, very, very interesting. I think I could also tell the difference, and it's a little misleading because the gun's heavy, but when it came to follow-up shots, I can feel the difference with the gun. The recoil of the gun is much more straight back than I would expect for a pistol with this kind of bore axis that high, but it really does shoot nice. Wow, that's amazing. I'm kind of blown away. Sorry, I know I'm kind of chopping in and out here, but I'm really just trying to give you my impressions right on camera. I like it. I like it a lot. What else? A couple of things I don't like about the gun. I'm not a fan, for personal defense, I'm not a fan of guns with safeties. I think we were recently in the North Carolina concealed carry instructor's course, and he brought up a really good, he had a slide where he talked about the effects of, the physiological effects of your heart rate increasing, and it doesn't take too long up there, 115 beats per minute before your fine motor skills start to go. And having to worry about a safety is, to me, another fine motor skill motion. Now, you can train to it, I get that, but just one more thing I've got to worry about. So I'm not really a fan of safeties because of that. And you get in the middle of a fight, I want less to have to worry about. It's going to be hard enough just to operate the trigger. So, you know, it's not a knock on the gun. This is a duty gun, and as such, you know, probably makes sense to have a safety considering who's carrying it, police, military. What else? Well, so the other thing about the safety is I don't like this dead trigger thing when it's unsafe. I would rather have pull that and have it stop and just know that it's unsafe. That would make me tend to think that I'm having some sort of malfunction. And again, when your heart rate's up, you know, it's something you'd have to train to. But just not a fan of it personally. They claim this the finish on this gun is called a BRUNITON finish. Now, this is some sort of proprietary thing, I guess, from, I'd never heard of it before, but it's a proprietary finish from Beretta. They call it a high-tech enamel finish. You know, some of you guys that know more about finishes out there might comment and tell us what the process is if you know it. I've heard all kinds of things. I've heard people say that thing's just the finish on that's garbage, and I've read stuff where people said it's incredibly solid and they love it. I don't know. The grip panels on this guy is probably one of my favorite things. This gun, you've got texture on the front and the back strap, and the feel of the grip panels gives you a really good solid sense of contact with the gun without being overly so. Some of these guns, you get a really solid texture on them, and then after, you shoot 100 rounds and it's ripping the hell out of your hand, you want a glove on it. This is about perfect, I think. I would imagine that, if you had blood running down your hand, you'd still get a pretty good grip on this gun. And not surprising, since the idea behind them was for the military. The controls on the gun are not bad. The safety's in a good spot for me, I think. Even though I have small hands, I can get to the magazine release, pretty much get to the slider release, all without adjusting my thumb. And that's pretty crazy for me because I have smallish hands, the doll hands, folks. The doll hands, I know. We haven't had the doll hands out in a while, but so that the fact that the controls are that reachable for me, I think bodes well, at least for small-handed dudes. I would think it would probably be very comfortable for just about any shooter. Again, not a surprise when you're looking at trying to shop something to the military. I've never actually shot a 9D2F, which I think is technically the M9. I think the functional differences there are not about how the controls work. I've looked at pictures; it all looks pretty much the same. Again, one of you Beretta experts to jump on the thread there and correct me if I'm wrong. One of the things I don't like is the rear slide here is really the only place to grip. I'm used to being able to grip up here on guns, and with the barrel uncovered and stuff, it just doesn't, I don't know, I suppose you can do it, but it just doesn't feel right. So you're looking at these rear slide serrations here is your only gripping surface back there. I also think that I'm getting, as I'm operating the gun, I'm getting caught up in the safety and stuff. These are all things, if you were, a devotee to the Beretta model, and there are guys out there, and I'm telling you right now, I get why you are, they would all be things that you would work around. But if you're going to pick this gun up, like me, and use it for the first time, and you're used to more of the typical polymer gun market that's around, that's one of the things you're going to notice. You got a lot more controls and stuff back here to deal with as you're manipulating the pistol. So something to consider. The single action trigger on this guy, losing my target, is as good single action trigger as as I've ever had on one of these guns that I've ever shot. Probably the only other gun really of this type that I can say I have extensive experience with is the FNX 9, which is also a great gun. Probably should haul that thing out again and do some videos on it. It has an exceptional single action trigger like this does. It's hammer fired as well. This is absolutely, for a gun off the line, for your, I don't know what these run. Probably new, they're around $500, but you can get them used at really good prices. For a gun coming right off the assembly line, that's a pretty nice trigger. Now it's single action. The double action pull is stout and needs to be. It's a safety feature of the gun, but it's not terribly gritty. And you can get that first shot off with some confidence. But once you get the hammer back, boy, this guy goes. It's really nice. Well, I mean, most of the time we review these guns and we talk about are they concealable and can you use it for packing around, that kind of thing. For me, the gun's too big. I can't conceal a full size. So I can't conceal a full size M&P. Not, at least, especially not in the summer, or a Glock 17, anything like that. So I'm not going to be able to conceal this gun. My body shape just doesn't do it. Some of you taller guys may get away with it. And so if any of you do, and you've got some tips on how you can actually carry the 92FS concealed, why don't you drop a line there in the comments. We'd really appreciate to hear about that. I can't give you that experience because it just wouldn't conceal for me. As a home defense weapon, holy crap! The only knock I would have on it for that would be I couldn't find anything about. There's no. I mean, this is not even dovetailed on here. You'd have to grind this front sight off and then have a probably a dovetail created here. Maybe they make replacement slides for these guys. So another thing, you know, for Beretta experts out there, if you've had experience replacing the sights, that might be interesting. But if you could get night sights on this gun, just understanding the reliability record of it, and really the quality that you're dealing here, I think it would make a great home defense gun. You got 15 rounds, which is pretty respectable. I would guess you probably have a aftermarket, well, they're Beretta mags, so you know there's all kinds of aftermarket stuff, I'm sure, for the magazines to get more rounds. But you know, if you get a good deal on one of these guns when you use it for home defense, rock on, brother. I think it would be great. I kind of like, it's kind of nice once in a while to get a real gun in your hands that it doesn't have a polymer grip to it, and really, you know, get to play with how controllable they are. It's a real treat, and this is of course no exception. I'm very excited about shooting this gun. I've been wanting to do it for a really long time. The Beretta 92 FS. We may have it out again. We'll see. I've got. I think Alex lent this gun to me, and I think he tries to hug it once a month, so he may want it back. But I don't know. Maybe we'll buy one once in a while. Once in a while. I don't know. It's not 100 degrees out here, and it's kind of screwing with my brain. It's actually quite comfortable. All right, folks. Always remember, anyone can shoot. Anyone can shoot this 92 FS. I think it's a great all-around kind of universal gun. If I didn't say that already. And considering who it was marketed to, that doesn't surprise me. Where was I at? Anyone can shoot and have fun. We'll see you next time.